President Biden, he's often called the consoler in chief. He does talk to families who have lost loved ones because of his own experiences. Have you experienced that from him as you've been coping with the death of Nicole?
No.
A stunned, surprised, and sort of taken aback CNN news anchor. It is the State of the Union. Joe Biden is going to try to divide us tonight. He's also going to try to lie to us. He's also going to try to tell you that this entire election is about abortion. You know why he wants to do that? Because he doesn't want to face the reality of what he's done in office. President Trump's campaign has come out with a devastating ad today, and it focuses not on all of the horrible issues that our country is dealing with right now and not the mess that Joe Biden has created. It focuses on Joe Biden, the man himself, and the reality that when you vote for him this November, you're really voting for President Kamala Harris. This ad you're about to see is terrifying. Take a look.
Whatever the hell they want. I guess I should clear my mind here a little bit.
We can all see Joe Biden's weakness. If Biden wins, can he even survive till 2029? The real question is, can we? Make America Great Again Inc. is responsible for the content of this advertising.
I should have given you a trigger warning. Yes, it's really, that's 30 seconds of gold there. And after that image right there is what this campaign's all about. And tonight, Joe Biden's going to try to make you think this is all about Donald Trump and MAGA fascists and January 6th and insurrection. Oh, and abortion. But this is a president running for re-election. And by definition, that means that this entire campaign should be a referendum on how he's done as president. Are you better off or worse off than you were 4 years ago? House Speaker Mike Johnson's team has put together the answer to that question.
And my report is this: the State of the Union is strong. You should come. Surge to the border.
Migrants surge across from Mexico.
Pushing resources to the limit.
Some of those got part of the terror watch list.
Every state is a border state. Every city is a border city.
Sharp rise in the amount of drugs.
8,500 pounds of fentanyl.
Cartel controls everything that happens here.
America is at a breaking point.
Joe Biden is touting Bidenomics.
Bidenomics is working.
78% of voters view the economy negatively, and that the president is to blame.
We're changing people's lives.
Unrelenting price increases.
Sticker shock is hitting millions of Americans hard.
The highest economic growth in 40 years.
The highest inflation rate, Mr. President, in 40 years.
I got that.
Crime is dominating the headlines.
Surge of violent smash and grab robberies.
24% more murders.
The buck stops with me.
The Middle East in flames. Israel has formally declared war.
The Taliban has returned to power.
Embassy shuttered. The flag coming down.
Vladimir Putin doesn't fear this president.
Xi Jinping told President Biden China will reunify with Taiwan.
Weakness invites aggression.
Appeasement has failed.
This open season on America.
The country has soured on Joe Biden.
The most vacation days taken by a president.
The White House in damage control.
Where is the president? Why isn't he communicating?
I mean, bravo. The team over there at Mike Johnson's communication shop, that's brilliant. I mean, and that encapsulates, in 90 seconds this time, encapsulates the last 3 years that we've been enduring under this president. And boy, oh boy, that image of him stumbling up the stairs of Air Force One. There's a reason why they've got him wearing the little Skechers now that look like dress shoes, but they're not. They're old guy shoes. And they have him going up the short stairs because of that image. That image is an image of a failing president and a failing presidency. And if we don't fix this, it's the image of a failing country. Good Lord. From inflation to the economic conditions to the border to crime to the Middle East to Afghanistan, that ad had it all. And over on the Senate side, the Senate Republican Committee, they actually have their version of the ad, this time 60 seconds, and frankly, also pure gold. Take a look.
Laken Riley should have been able to go on a run in broad daylight without being murdered by an illegal immigrant. But Joe Biden promised not to deport illegal immigrants.
Should that person be deported? That person should not be the focus of deportation.
Biden vowed not to detain illegal immigrants who cross the border.
No one would be put in jail while waiting for their hearing.
So when Jose Ibarra crossed into America illegally, he was not deported. He was not put in jail. Biden also supported sanctuary cities.
Should undocumented immigrants arrested by local police be turned over to immigration officials?
No.
So when Jose Ibarra was arrested in New York City for endangering a child, he was freed a second time. Ibarra went to Georgia, where he beat Laken Riley to death. How many more killers has Biden set free? Building America's Future is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Okay, Building America's Future, which is a political action committee, forgive me. It was promoted on X by Senate Republicans, and that's why I thought that it was from them. Either way, though, I feel like we're almost having a class right now in political communications and the use of digital and multimedia to convey a political message, because we have had three great examples here. This is one, unlike the one that Speaker Johnson's office put out, which was just a montage and conglomerate of problem after problem after problem after problem directly linked back to Joe Biden and using Joe Biden's own words and policies, linking them. This one hyper focuses on one issue, one critically important issue, and does it in an emotional way, starting with a woman who could very well have been the same age and size and type of Laken Riley, and then taking you through that journey of her murder. Phenomenal work, and critically important that Republicans are finally getting good at this. Because I'll be honest, we had a lot of years lost in the desert, right? And I want to share one more with you here before we continue on with our State of the Union presentation here in our first segment. This one comes directly from Senator Ted Cruz's office, one of the best communicators in the United States Senate, and he has a team of people who have been harnessing social media unlike any other person in the Senate or really in the Congress. He's really great at utilizing his appearances on television and other people's words that they use on television, and then making his political point to a much wider audience on social media. One thing that I've learned over the years of doing media is, everyone wants to go on Fox News. If you're a conservative commentator, go on Fox News. And sure, that's kind of important. But you know what's even more important? Taking the video of your appearance on Fox News and then spreading it out on social media. That's where a lot of people see it. People see it on Fox News, but not nearly as many people see it as they do on social media. And this is where Ted Cruz is so good. And in this ad, he actually does both. Watch.
It's a pattern we're seeing all across the country now. We're seeing violent crimes committed by illegal aliens that Joe Biden released.
I would, in fact, make sure that we immediately surge to the border. All those people are seeking asylum.
An illegal immigrant charged with the murder of a 22-year-old Georgia nursing student, Laken Riley.
Jose Ibarra, her accused killer, came to the U.S. illegally from Venezuela.
Whether it is Laken Riley or whether it is Jeremy Caceres, a 2-year-old boy who was murdered just outside Washington, D.C. by another illegal alien that Biden released. In recent days, a 14-year-old girl in Boston raped by an illegal alien Biden released. A child under 14 raped by an illegal alien in Louisiana that Biden released. When you release violent criminals into our community, Americans are going to be killed.
Ted Cruz also, by the way, running for re-election for the United States Senate. Again, a great ad. And none of these issues will be touched on by Joe Biden tonight. He can't. If he tries to talk about the border and immigration and tries to blame Republicans, he runs the risk of having it be the loudest and most boisterous negative demonstration in State of the Union history. In fact, I wouldn't blame House Republicans and Senate Republicans, for that matter, except maybe James Lankford and Mitch McConnell. I wouldn't blame them from staging a walkout if he tries that tactic. Frankly, I think that they're in such denial that they won't even mention the border or immigration at all. The number one issue facing the American voter today, and they can't even mention it. Now, he'll try to lie to you about the economy, and he's going to try to tell you that Bidenomics is working. He's going to try to tell you that wages are so much higher than prices right now, and that's just not true. They're in this untenable position now where they have to try to tell you to not believe your own bank account, not believe your own grocery bill or what you're paying for gas at the pump. Don't believe your own kids' tuition costs. Don't believe your credit card statement at the end of the month. Don't believe what's left in your paycheck after tax withholdings. Don't believe any of that. Believe Joe Biden. Believe Joe Biden that the economy is fantastic and Bidenomics is working. I wonder what Adam Schiff, congressman from California, who's running from the U.S. Senate, thinks about this.
Well, you know, I think if our campaign and success in a state like California is any indication, he needs to emphasize what he has done, and what he has done has been remarkable. The most aggressive effort to combat climate change in history, the infrastructure bill, the CHIPS and Science Act that brought back so many jobs and continues to, but also how he'll continue to address these challenges that people are facing. People are working harder than ever and still struggling to pay the rent or pay their mortgage or put food on the table. So both what he has done, which is remarkable, what he is going to do, and I think the contrast also between someone who's good and wise and decent in Joe Biden with, you know, someone who has no ethical compass in Donald Trump is going to spell victory at the end of the day.
You know, it was quite an appearance. I wish I could show you all of it. There was a moment just a little bit later when Wolf Blitzer says, while we've got you here, Congressman Adam Schiff, you came on this network for 4 years during President Trump's presidency, and you lied over and over and over again about evidence that you claimed existed, proving Russian collusion, that proved treason, that proved that Donald Trump and his campaign worked with Vladimir Putin and Russia to rig the 2016 election. You came on this network so many times and you said that lie. Now, finally, once and for all, will you? Yeah, actually, that never happened. Sorry. Wolf Blitzer didn't have time to challenge Adam Schiff on that one. That's weird, isn't it? It's weird how they keep having Adam Schiff back and they never actually hold him accountable for all the lies about Russian collusion. But let's just go back to one spot here that I think is incredibly informative, because he spends the first half of this segment, talking about all the great things Donald Trump's done, you know, about climate change. About climate change. Because that makes a difference in the everyday lives of the American people.
Larry, you mean all the things Joe Biden has done, not Donald Trump on climate.
Oh, did I say Donald Trump? Thank you, Kevin. See, again, I always like, if possible, to prove that we work without a script here. Thank you, Kevin, for pointing that out. Yes, he spent the first half of this little segment talking about all the great things Joe Biden has done about climate change, because that makes such a difference in your life. But then he said this. It's an amazing little pivot here, isn't it?
Harder than ever and still struggling to pay the rent or pay their mortgage or put food on the table. So both what he has done.
Hold on. If everything is so great and Bidenomics is working, and as Pete Buttigieg just said the other day on CNBC, remember we talked about this earlier in the week, that things are fantastic, we're just having trouble getting our message out. Well, they haven't gotten the message to Adam Schiff and the people he knows he's got to get to vote for him in California. Even in California, he's got to keep it real and say, yeah, people are working harder than ever and they're struggling to pay their rents and put food on the table. Wow, 4 more years of that, please. Maybe the Republicans should just play this on a loop as the Republican response. You know, we were going to have a Republican senator from Alabama, Senator, is it Brett? I'm sorry, Senator, again, without a script. We were going to have her do the Republican response. Instead, we'll just let Adam Schiff give the counter argument to Joe Biden.
Address these challenges that people are facing. People are working harder than ever and still struggling to pay the rent or pay their mortgage or put food on the table.
Bidenomics is working. Yeah, now I don't think Joe Biden's going to mention that. You know what else he's not going to mention? This is, I believe, the third State of the Union address. and hold on, let me do the math real. This is the second State of the Union address that Joe Biden has delivered since his disastrous pullout of Afghanistan, since his actions and his feckless national security and military advisors created conditions on the ground in Kabul that led to the death of 13 American service members. Needless, unnecessary deaths if we actually had a correct and proper plan to withdraw our troops from Afghanistan. Not one person has been fired from the Pentagon as a result of that horrific black mark on American military history. But frankly, even worse than that, not one parent of those 13 service members have received a phone call from Joe Biden. And here on his third State of the Union address since then, he will not mention any of those service members' names. The parents of one of those members of the military appeared on CNN and revealed this fact to, I believe, a stunned, surprised, and sort of taken aback CNN news anchor. Watch this.
You have been critical of how President Biden has talked about the withdrawal from Afghanistan. Tomorrow, he's going to be addressing a lot of global issues, probably in his State of the Union address. What do you want to hear from him about the 2 years ago, what happened to your daughter-in-law?
I want to hear how he's going to strengthen our armed forces and support them and answer our questions and lead to a thorough investigation like they promised so that we can move forward in a positive way and make it better.
President Biden, he's often called the consoler in chief. He does talk to families who have lost loved ones because of his own experiences. Have you experienced that from him as you've been coping with the death of Nicole?
No.
Have you spoken to him?
No, he has not reached out to our family. We've actually reached out to the White House and have never heard back. We asked to meet with them to kind of understand where their thinking was in calling this a success, and we've not received a response. It's been months. No, that's not been our experience at all.
Sorry to hear that. Chairman McCall, my understanding is that
I don't think she saw that coming. I got to be honest. I don't think that was a prepared question. I think that she was asking it because she was hoping to sort of redeem Joe Biden's reputation in front of her CNN audience there. The way she asked the question, you know, President Biden's been referred to as the consoler in chief. Have you experienced that? I honestly think this anchor was hoping to get some sort of emotional feedback from this mother who has been critical of Joe Biden, you know, and she's trying to here throw a lifeline to good old President Biden and say, okay, maybe you're unhappy with the fact that he hasn't done an investigation into the death of your daughter-in-law, and maybe you're unhappy that he hasn't held anybody accountable, but at least he gave you a big hug. And he was the consoler in chief. At least he talked to you and told you that he feels your pain and said, yeah, I lost my son too. My son Bo died in Iraq, even though he didn't die in Iraq. I'm sure that happened, right? Please give us something here. And then she got the truth. They got nothing. They've heard nothing. They've gone out of their way to reach out, and they've received nothing. Because you know why? You know why? Because these people, the parents of those service members who died because of Joe Biden's policies, those people don't serve Joe Biden's political interest. So they're not worth the time. That's why. Yeah, she will not be the guest of Joe Biden tonight up in the gallery watching the State of the Union. She will be the guest of Congressman McCall there. All these things you know about the state of our country, all these things you know about the state of Joe Biden's mental capacity, all these things you know about where we're headed right now, they're going to lie to you tonight, and they're going to try to make you think that you shouldn't believe your lion eyes, that you're the problem, that you're wrong. In fact, if you don't believe that Joe Biden is the greatest president in American history and has achieved incredible successes, that we are right now enjoying the best of times in America, if you don't believe that, frankly, you're the problem. You MAGA fascist. Don't believe me? Well, look at Joe Scarborough on MSNBC trying to sell you something that you're supposed to be buying.
But comparing that guy's mental state, I've said it for years now, he's cogent. But I undersold him when I said he was cogent. He's far beyond cogent. In fact, I think he's better than he's ever been. Intellectually, analytically, because he's been around for 50 years. And, I don't know if people know this or not, Biden used to be a hothead. Sometimes that Irishman would get in front of the reasoning. Sometimes he would say things he didn't want to say. This is, and I don't really, I don't really care. Start your tape right now, because I'm about to tell you the truth. And F you if you can't handle the truth. This version of Biden, intellectually, analytically, is the best Biden ever. Not a close second. And I've known him for years. The Brzezinskis have known him for 50 years. If it weren't the truth, I wouldn't say it. And
there you go. And you heard it. F you if you don't agree. F you if you don't believe it. That's political analysis and commentary at MSNBC, proud as a peacock. This version of Joe Biden is the best version of Joe Biden ever. Let's finish where we started then. If that's the thought, then let's go back and finish right where we started today.
Whatever the hell they want. I guess I should clear my mind here a little bit.
We can all see Joe Biden's weakness. If Biden wins, can he even survive till 2029? The real question is, can we? Make America Great Again Inc. is responsible for the content of this advertising.
There you go. That version of Joe Biden. Best Joe Biden ever. And if you don't believe Joe Scarborough when he tells you, F you.